Hello, this is wmpyr here to do a book review for you guys. The Commando Pocket Manual. There's some velvet on there, kind of like a patch. Very, very cool stuff. Here is the back. Hopefully you guys can pause it and read it for yourselves. And there's one more page I really want to show you guys, which is right here. What's important about that is compiled and introduced by Christopher Westhorpe. So that is the key here. This booklet is made up of other portions of other books put together. And one of the most famous, I believe, in here is, this is something I covered for you guys recently, is that it takes parts from Captain Fairbairn's Get Tough book, which I really, really like, and I've been covering that on my YouTube channel, Technique by Technique. But yeah, some of that is definitely in here. So the interesting thing about this book is, yes, it covers material that the commando should know, but it also goes into ideas about what a successful commando program would have and should be doing. And that is something that I was surprised by. That's something I didn't expect. So they go into the behind the scenes of that kind of stuff. For example, when you are going to make a program like this, where you're going to be making these commando guys, the first thing is, what is a commando? That's the very first thing. To make this program, we need to know what the heck a commando is. And the reason of their existence, they even go into that background, which was at the time in World War II, the British soldiers figured out that the Nazi Germany was going to invade. They were planning on invading the UK. So then they had to go, the British soldiers that were all over Europe had to come back to defend their homeland. And that makes sense. So they had to retreat and protect because they're getting ready to be invaded. Winston Churchill at the time was like, even though this is necessary, we got to get defensive, I don't want to be 100% just thinking defense, so I want some offense out there. And that's when he greenlit this right here, the Commandos. He greenlit this program, and these are the guys that, even though most of their forces were there to protect, there were some guys actually attacking behind enemy lines. These guys stayed in Europe. They didn't come back to the UK to protect. They were out there attacking, causing as much damage as they could. That was these guys. These guys were the mother of the modern day special forces. So they were called special service at the time, or commandos. And that was very interesting. And then they go, okay, so then what's the difference between a regular soldier and a commando? And the idea was that a regular soldier is someone that can follow orders. We need you to do this because the next thing is we're going to do this and that, and this is coming over here and whatever. So we need you to be able to do this. Please follow the order and get this done. That's a regular soldier. The commando, on the other hand, is a lot more independent and free. They were kind of like, okay, we're going to send you off over here, and the rest, you figure it out. Whether it's supplies, recruiting soldiers, all that stuff, you figure it out. We're not going to give you supplies. You do it. You find a way to get it. All that kind of stuff. They were a lot more independent. They were by themselves. They had to do a lot of troubleshooting. And because of that, they were like, we need a guy that's not going to be necessarily told what to do, someone that is independent, very independent, independent-minded, and, is good at troubleshooting type of person. So they would tell this guy, like, okay, you don't have to wear uniform. You don't have to have the standard military issue weapons. Have your own gear. Get your own custom weapon. That's all cool. All right, so he's given a lot more freedom, but then throughout this manual, they talk about like, what's the right amount of freedom we give to this guy, because it gets to the point where then they start just doing whatever, and they might even just slack off and disappear, or they just don't listen at all. They're 100% now doing their own thing, their own cause, and we got no way of controlling this guy. So what is the right amount? They're trying to figure that out, you know. And I thought that was also very, very interesting. And yeah, as far as like hand-to-hand combat goes, it's the close quarters combat CQC is 100% from Captain Fairbairn. His material is in here. We have firearms stuff, different positions of shooting. They go into nutrition even, like the amount of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats that you need to be taking during the day. They also talk about attacking at night. A regular soldier trains during the day, sleeps at night, but for a commando, a lot of their offense, when they go on the attack, is going to be at night. So we need to train at night, actually at nighttime. They need to get used to this. And they talk about like even having two pairs of shoes. One shoe is for the nighttime where it's not going to make a lot of sound. This kind of thing is definitely mentioned in this book. They talk about explosives. They talk about map reading. One of the interesting things was being able to maneuver through a cliff. And I'm thinking that's because they trained in the British Highlands over there. So that was definitely seemed like an important concern for them. Another part was they talked about boats, and I'm also guessing like rafts, where they would go in a small boat and being able to operate almost like a canoe or a one-person raft, maybe like 5 people max. So a very small boat type of thing where they operate on waters. That was also heavily mentioned. So I think all of that kind of like sets the foundation for the modern day special forces stuff that you see today, the SAS and that kind of stuff. Extremely interesting. The reason why I'm so into this kind of stuff, and I've been presenting a lot of these like Captain Fairbairn's techniques, combatives techniques on my YouTube channel, is because with Filipino martial arts, I feel that there is a 100% connection of, when you're talking about Filipino martial arts of Kali, Eskrima, and Arnis, it does have a very strong tie with boxing, in my opinion. You should definitely study boxing if you are studying those styles. But I also feel that this combatives is another part that is also important to study, just because Filipino martial arts like Kali, Eskrima, Arnis is taught to the Filipino military to this day, and it's also taught to military forces around the world in modern times as well. So there, in order to understand FMA better, I feel like you need to understand, this kind of combatives roots, the military historical background as well. So anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.